Zdravo svima.
Zdravo svima. Ovdje je Ivana i...
Ovdje je Maki.
Yay, we synchronized.
We are so happy each time.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, kako si danas?
Danas sam bolje. Dobila sam vakcinu.
How do I say, like, sorry, how do I say, wow, that's good, I'm happy for you?
Super, drago mi je.
Super. Kako je bilo?
Loše, užasno, strašno, katastrofa. Haos.
So what are we saying? The question probably. So Ivana got the vaccine and
the second dose.
How did you say? Dobila sam, you said, right?
Actually, you would say, I would say primila sam. Primila sam vakcinu. Drugu dozu.
Drugu dozu.
Second
dose.
Second dose, yes. I received the vaccine. That's how you would say it. Primiti is receiving. Primam poklon. I don't know. Primam.
The gift.
Yeah.
Okay.
Primiti pozdrave, right? To receive greetings, kind of.
Greetings. Oh, that's formal, right?
Yeah. Primite moje pozdrave. Something like that, I think.
My greetings. Moje pozdrave.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So, yeah, I got my second dose and my first dose was okay. My second dose was horrible, which we kind of discussed. That's good because that means that my body is reacting and it's fighting and it's strong. But that was horrible. It was horrible several days.
What was the horrible thing that you said in Serbian? Katastrofe, I know.
Katastrofa, užas.
Užas.
Užas, haos, strašno.
House, like house.
Strava i užas. Do you know that one?
Strava is the app. It's about health, right?
Strava usually means great. But in this context, užas is like horrible. So it means like horrible. I don't know how to translate it.
Great horrible.
Great horror. Like it actually means horrible and worse, something like that. It means like worst of the worst, basically.
I see.
But yeah, so many ways to say. I was actually thinking some days before I was walking, I was thinking, no way, there's so many ways that you can say like horrible catastrophe in Serbian, you know, like why do we have so many words to use for like negative things? But yeah,
maybe the tendency to complain.
Yes, that's definitely me. That's where I'm staying Serbian.
Okay. So
anyway,
as we started with grammar, today's episode is on something unique or also very common use of grammar, which is imperfective versus perfective.
Yes. And for you guys that are not really into linguistics, I don't think you necessarily need to remember the words imperfective versus perfective, but just to kind of grasp what it is about and to start thinking in Serbian in that way. And when you start thinking in that way, then things are going to be much easier. Because this is actually one topic where of my dissertation. And what I found is that this is obviously completely different in different languages. Some languages lack these distinctions and some languages have them, but they're realized in different manner. And Slavic languages are very similar. And this is where Serbian comes in.
To put it in simple words, can I say this is like a prefix, a use of prefix to change the time, the tense of the sentence. It's actually not a tense prefix, but also it affects the timing.
Right? So how we look at it is it's the aspect, right? And the aspect basically tells you how you look at the event. It's not like exactly when the event happened, because you don't really care when it happened. You care if you're looking from the outside or the inside of the event. And if you're looking from the inside of the event, then you can see that, okay, you can see the event, but you don't really necessarily look at the beginning or the end. You're just like, it's happening. It's currently, it's happening, it's ongoing, it's habitual, progressive. as we have it in English, right? So you don't really care about when it started or it ended. But when you look at it from the outer perspective and you see like, oh, this is an event, it has its beginning, it has its end. And that's where you look at the event is kind of finished, right? This is where that kind of tense a bit comes into play. And there's a lot of like debate between like what is aspect, what is tense, you know, but this is like the best way how I can explain it.
And we will give the examples from the most common verbs that many people will hear or will read while reading or studying Serbian. So let's start with the examples.
Yeah, and I have to mention that in Slavic languages, the aspect actually makes changes, how can I say, makes two completely different verbs. They're completely different two infinitive forms. And they are seen in prefixes or suffixes or infixes, depending on what you are trying to convey, or in which language. But in Slavic, it's very, very, very tied to the verb, and it really distinguishes. If you look up the dictionary, you're going to see the imperfective and the perfective infinitive form. They're going to be two completely different verbs, which is not the same in other languages.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not in English, not in Turkish, as far as I know.
Yeah. I don't know about Turkish, but yeah. Okay. So do you want me to kind of repeat? So we already kind of talked about the difference between imperfective and perfective.
Yeah, but we didn't actually say which one is actually imperfective and which one is perfective. That's clear.
Imperfective is the one where you look at the contour of the event from the inside. You don't care if something has a beginning or the end. It's something that it's either ongoing, so progressive, or habitual.
Progressive or habitual. So
exactly.
Going on.
For example, in English, you have I'm reading. ING conveys it as something progressive. Something is either progressive or continuous. Yes. And the other one, perfective, actually looks at the event from the outside. It says, okay, this is an isolated event, and I see that it has an end. So it has ended. So it's not continuous, right? It's not progressive. It's the whole thing. Exactly.
Okay.
And an example of that in Serbian is the difference between čitati and pročitati.
Okay. So pročitati is the perfective one.
Yes. Yeah.
Čitati is imperfect one. Okay.
Exactly. How do you know that?
I was just looking at the example. The first one is happening. So that's from inside, imperfective. The other one is in past, mostly in past, I guess it's used. And that's referring to a finished event. So that's why it's imperfective.
Yeah, because you can see the end, usually it's used in the past. I think it'd be very difficult to use it in the present. You can use it in some hypothetical situations or like in the future, also in many different ways, but most stereotypically it's for the past, right? And usually what happens in Serbians, if you want to create an imperfective or perfective, so you would usually add a prefix to the imperfective base, and in order to create the perfective. So čitati is imperfective, it's ongoing, it's habitual.
To read, by the way.
To read, sorry guys, I don't know if we told you. And then you add pro to make it finished, complete, perfective. Pročitati.
Pročitati.
Yes.
Okay.
So you can say trenutno čitam Ivo Andrića. I'm currently reading Ivo Andrić.
Yes.
Ali sam već pročitala 2 knjige danas. But I have already read 2 books today.
Okay, so I have already read već pročitala.
Pročitala.
Okay. So if I said čitala instead of pročitala, would it sound weird or not?
Let me think about it. Trenutno čitam Ivo Andrića, ali sam već čitala 2 knjige danas. That would mean that you started reading both books, but you never really finish the books. So the books are still on standby, basically.
I see.
That's what it will mean.
So when I say pročitala, that includes that I finished reading
You
them.
finished reading something. Exactly.
Okay, good.
Good. What's the difference between English and Serbian? So just to kind of put it into perspective, I already talked about the progressive. So imperfective encompasses the progressiveness as well. And you have that in English. So if you want to say something is like progressively happening continuously, so you would say, I was reading, I was listening, I was jumping, I was whatever you want to say. So you have that ing. And the thing is that the reading, listening, or whatever is always one verb, and you will always find it in the dictionaries that one verb. The progressive version will not have a different meaning in the dictionary, right? For English. The difference between also Serbian and English is that Serbian uses imperfective for habitual things. English doesn't. So if you want to say that you used to do something, you would use I used to paint, or I would paint. And that means that for habitual actions, you don't have a specific form like suffix, you have to use a different medium, which is used to or would, right? But in Serbian, one verb or imperfective verb conveys both habitual and progressive.
Okay, let's give that in Serbian. So I used to paint, or I painted the wall.
So I actually wrote down, because it's a bit complex if you think about it in the past and in the present. Let's say to eat. If you want to say, what did I write here? What? Sad, maybe.
Sad.
Okay, let's say if you want to say that you are eating right now, you can say jedem, right? If you want to say they already ate something, you can say pojela sam. Right?
Po.
Exactly. But if you want to say that usually you eat some sort of food, I wrote burek here. You would usually use obično jedem burek.
Obično jedem burek. I eat burek.
Yeah. So painting, slikam.
Actually, with jedem, I used to eat burek.
I used to, like in the past, if you want. Obično.
I mean, which one? Perfective or imperfective form?
Well, I would still use obično jedem burek, which would encompass the past as well, which means that today and before, I usually.
But I used to eat, but now I don't.
Okay. Oh, that's actually quite
Jelasam or pojelasam?
No. Obično sam jela, I think. Obično sam jela. So it would be imperfective.
Okay. Imperfective.
The same.
Obično sam jela burek.
Because for habits, again, you use imperfective. You whenever you say, let me actually think about reading. Obično sam čitala. Obično bih čitala. Again, so that would be imperfective. You can also use obično bih pročitala, but in specific context. Only if you have I would usually do something before something else. Then you can use it, but not by default, it's imperfective. But mind you, you have to be careful if you use it in present tense or in past tense. Obviously, that really depends on what you want to convey, right? So if you say jedem or obično sam jela, obično bi jela, this is another topic, but we're just talking about the distinction between perfective and imperfective.
Yeah. Okay. So there are some, not all, but we will give some prefixes that are mostly seen.
Yeah.
Right? And
which ones do you have? Because I'm interested. Because I wrote some of them down, but Maki has a book that she's learning from. So I really want to see how they write it for foreigners.
So I use piti, popiti all the time. That's why that's a very
That's
common
good,
example,
actually.
I guess.
Po. Mm-hmm.
Po is one of them. And also raditi to work. So uraditi.
Mm-hmm.
Uradisam, there's also a company here.
Yeah. In this case, raditi to work, but it also means to do, right? So I did it. Uradila
Yeah,
sam.
that's true.
Mm.
It doesn't work, neradi, for example. So, and znati, to know, to
Mm-hmm.
mean, no, to know, right?
Okay.
Znati,
Znati, to know.
saznati.
Ah, to learn something new. Aha. Yeah.
Yep.
This is.
These are regulars, by the way. You just put and you don't change the root of the verb, but of course there are going to be irregulars. And
Yes. I just want to point out that there's because we add prefixes for various different reasons, not only for perfective. It might be that they slightly change the meaning. And we had a discussion how you can use two different prefixes to finish an action. Like, which one was it that we talked about? Raditi, which is uraditi. Can also say odraditi. That would also be okay with me, totally fine sometimes to use it, but just the uraditi is more conventional.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Irregular ones are kupovati and kupiti.
Oh, yes. Yes.
When I first tried to make my sentences, I was telling my day and I was like, I went there and bought that. I went shopping and I get the verb from the Google Translate or from the dictionary, kupovati. And then, no, they say, you say kupilasam. Like, why do I not say kupovalasam?
One hint, if it's longer, it's usually imperfective. Kupiti, kupovati, right?
Okay.
That's usually, for some reason, I don't know why.
Let's give it, maybe some people are lost right now. So let's say kupiti and kupovati to buy something, right?
Yeah.
So if I say kupiti, that means I have both, like I will refer to something that I've finished doing. Before we continue with the show, here's a quick reminder. This podcast is free for everyone and supported by listeners like you. We hope that this podcast is useful and convenient to you. This is a labor of love for both of us. To help us continue creating useful content for everyone, we will appreciate your help. If you have the means, you can support us in different ways. You may just go to buymeacoffee.com/mozdekafa podcast and send us some cups of coffee. You may also become a member of our show on patreon.com/mozdekafa podcast and get extra benefits like bonus content, full transcripts of the show in Serbian, or even join us on the show. We rely on your support to help everyone more in learning Serbian language and culture. Thanks for joining us today, and now let's get back to our episode. I was trying to give some explanation there. Kupiti and kupovati. If you want to elaborate on it.
Let's say I bought a book yesterday. Kupila sam.
Both of them are to buy, right? When you
yes, both of them to buy. They just the kupovati actually implies that you were doing something for a bit longer time, and that it's not. I mean, obviously it's a finished action, right? But you don't really know exactly for how long that action lasted. Could be like 10 minutes, 1 hour, 3, or whatever. Maybe you actually didn't even buy anything, but you just went shopping. So let's say I bought a book yesterday. Juče sam kupila knjigu, or kupila sam knjigu juče, or whatever, whichever order you want to use, honestly. Okay. But then you want to say, I was
buying something.
I was, let me just think of it first in Serbian. Kupovala sam, oh yeah, actually you can use the book again. Kupovala sam knjigu satima. So you can say I was shopping or buying, or the process of buying a book for hours. You spend so much time. So you
see.
can, this is like the way how you can use it.
All right.
Or you can use it, you know what? An example
Okay.
from English,
Yay.
which is like, when I was buying stuff, you called me.
Yeah.
You know.
So in this one, kod kupavila sam.
Dok sam kupovala,
Kupovala. Yes, that's
dok
true.
sam kupovala, nazvao si me.
Nazvao si me. You
Yeah, you called me.
You called me.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
for example, this is one way how you can use it.
That's actually good. Now I will try to make sentences with when and while in English, and then while translating, I will think of those perfective ones.
Yeah, and is it, so when I say while I was buying, kupovati, is it habitual or continuous?
It's continuous. That was happening.
Exactly.
And that's why we are connecting to. All right.
Exactly. That's good.
I hope everybody also is on the same page with me. I am feeling like, yeah.
And some other examples are, I wrote them also down, for example, to sign something is potpisati, imperfective. But then again, the imperfective is usually longer. So if you want to say I was signing something when you rang my door or whatever, that would be potpisivati. So potpisati, potpisivati. So we have va again, right?
Yes.
Also, we have to help, pomoći. I helped him, pomogao sam mu. And to help continuously or habitually would be pomagati. So you add ga here. So honestly, guys, I can't really give you a formula of when you use va, when you use ga, when you use ot, when you use po, when you use na. It's just something that you're going to have to learn while you're learning a language. So this is the wrong place to do that. But yeah, I think it's crucial for you to know.
Okay. I just want to read the regular and irregular ones so that they see the harmony.
Yeah.
Right. So we have piti, popiti, which is to drink. Pisati, napisati. Do I put the stress on the right way? Napisati or napisati?
Napisati.
Napisati. Okay. Raditi, uraditi.
Uraditi.
Shetati, to walk around. Pročitati.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Pro. And znati, saznati. So basically regular ones. And završavati and završiti, which is to close, right?
Yes, to završavati can also mean to završiti, to finish doing something, right?
Yeah. And to start has the same thing. So počinjati and početi.
Yes.
We already gave kupovati, kupiti, and davati, dati.
Yes.
To give, right?
To give. Kind of like dare, kind of like Italian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I also, we're going to also add some other examples in the transcripts that we put on Patreon. But I think it will be really interesting for us to do now is for Maki to show us, to do one exercise in Maki's book, to kind of show you how that looks like.
Okay. I'm sharing the screen then.
Yep.
So let's keep it this way. I will share the picture. I will share the screenshot.
Yes,
and
we'll put the...
Yeah. Okay. So in this lovely book, I have the exercise where they made nice sentences and took these verbs out. Perfective and imperfective ones. Okay. So the sentence is about Svetlana, a girl. Svetlana obično something. Oko pola sedam. So Svetlana usually at 6:30.
Pola sedam, yeah, 6:30, yeah.
So the verb will be to wake up, right? Ali tog dana u osam. So before u osam, we need to use the same verb, but this time we will choose either perfective or imperfective.
Yeah. And what's the verb?
The verb is ustajati and ustati.
Can you see which one is the imperfective one?
Yeah, wait. Imperfective one is the long one.
Yes. There you go.
Your tip was useful, you see?
Yeah.
The ustajati and ustati is the perfective.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So normally she wakes up at 6:30 and today at 8.
Yeah.
As something happening, going on.
No, this is normally. So it's a habit, right?
It's a habit, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's going to be usta.
It's going to be the the imperfective or perfective?
Perfective.
If it's a habit?
Imperfective? Yes.
Maki, imperfective is habits and continuous. True. Yeah, exactly.
I made that mistake on purpose so that everybody.
That's okay. That means that they'll do it too. They'll do it too. So
Svetlana obično ustaja.
Ustaje.
Ustaje, sorry. Ustaje oko pola 7. Ali tog dana, I need to use past tense here, right? Ustala je u 8.
Je ustala u 8. Znači ona obično ustaje. So that's the imperfective. Je ustala. So guys, if you make a mistake, and even Maki, if you don't really know like the exactly proper form, you know, of the to conjugate or whatever, that's totally fine, because, you know, on top of learning that these are two different verbs, now you have to learn how they both conjugate. So that's something, it's going to take time to do that. But yeah, that's a good example. So it's really good that they also use usually obično, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is used for many things. Should I try one more?
Yes.
Okay. With drink, maybe. Yeah. So every morning, spremati to prepare, right?
Yeah. Spremati is to.
With doručak, if you use it.
In the case of doručak, yeah. Prepare.
So every morning, I prepare breakfast and coffee. But tog jutra nije. But jutra. Tog jutra is tomorrow.
Jutro is morning.
This morning. Sorry. This morning, I'm not having breakfast, not drinking coffee. So I'm having breakfast or preparing breakfast. Spremati doručak. I'm not sure.
Preparing.
Preparing. Okay. So every morning I prepare breakfast and drink coffee. But this morning, I'm not preparing breakfast. I'm not having coffee.
You did not. I did not prepare. In this case,
I did not prepare, and I did not have coffee. Yes, I haven't. So with the
what are the verbs?
Ones, okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Spremati and spremiti.
Yeah.
Piti and popiti.
Oh, you have to use two verbs.
Yes.
Ooh.
So svakak jutra ona blah blah doručak
and coffee.
Blah blah kafu.
Drinks. Okay, good.
Ali,
well, level 2.
Nije blah blah doručak I nije blah blah kafu.
Okay. So again, in the beginning, we have every morning, which is habit, which we use the imperfective one. So the longer one.
But spremati and spremiti, they're almost the same length.
Yeah, actually, that's true. Spremati, spremiti.
But A is bigger, let's say. So it's going to be...
Spremati, spremiti. That's true.
Svakog jutra ona spremiti, if we conjugate it, it's going to be spreme.
Sprema.
Sprema this time, that's true. Okay.
Spremati.
Svakog jutra ona sprema doručak I
this is a difficult one.
Yeah. Pije, but it's going to be piše. Right?
Pije. It's pije.
Pije.
Yeah.
Pije kafu. Ali tog jutra nije je spremala I
spremila.
Spremila, sorry.
The
nije,
mi. Yeah.
nije popila kafu.
Yes. Finally, we have a regular one.
Can you say it normally, like in a normal pace with a normal stress?
How was the beginning?
Svakog jutra.
Svakog jutra sprema doručak i pije kafu, ali tog jutra, I forgot the exact wording, ali tog nije spremila doručak i nije popila kafu.
Okay. That's it. We killed it. I know it sounds complicated, but when you see the sentences, it will be okay for everyone.
Yeah. And if you're not at that level to really completely like use it, at least just be aware that these are two different things. And when you get to that level, when you're ready to actually learn what are the forms, how do you conjugate it, and when exactly do I use it, then you're already going to be a bit primed up. So it's just really good to have that awareness, if nothing. Yeah. I hope you learned something. I think you did learn something new today.
I did. I have more question marks, but while preparing the quiz, and this is going to be, I guess, like an intermediate level Serbian.
Yes, definitely. But I think it's useful for anyone, just for that awareness, just to be like, and guys slowly start learning the pairs, and then when that's going to help you
for everyone.
Yeah. Good. I hope you like this. This was a bit difficult, but no pressure. Take your time and learn. Take as much time as you need.
Yeah, and I will complete this as like exercise and send it to you.
Yeah, good. Yeah, and we're gonna put it also in the video, so to have it. Yeah,
and you can mark it. wrong.
It's funny to do exercises in my own native language. So it was really interesting. I was like, am I gonna do it correctly? I don't know. So if you were fearful, I was also fearful. Don't worry, it's a test for me. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. Next time around, I think we're going to do something less linguistic-y. So stick around. And hope you enjoyed
Hvala ti puno, Ivana.
Nema na čemu, kao I uvek, as always.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
Okay, talk to you soon.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, prijatno.
Prijatno.